Hello, Sagittarius. Welcome to Dove and Serpent Tarot. My name is Paul. If Sagittarius is your sun, moon, or rising sign, this is your tarot card reading. Remember to hit the like button, leave a comment. Consider subscribing to the channel, especially if this reading resonates with you. It is totally free, doesn't cost anything to subscribe. If there's anything you would like me to pray over, or meditate upon, or send positive energy toward, please let me know. Now, this is a timeless reading. This energy was activated as soon as you clicked on this video. Try to be open and receptive to whatever may come through during our time together. I am merely the messenger, and I ask you to connect directly with each of these cards and use your own intuition to take you beyond the details that I provide. And remember, Sagittarius, that the most important part of any tarot reading is you. 3 of Cups. You've got a lot to celebrate in your life. I think lately you've been working on gratitude, on appreciating the pets, the plants, the people that are around you in your life. I think that you're approaching a very successful and a very joyous time in your life. I don't know if there's something coming up soon for you. Right? It's an anniversary, or it's someone's birthday, or it's a particular achievement. But I feel like you're being sort of singled out in your life for maybe a special accomplishment, or you're very optimistic about connecting with what you're doing and with the people around you in some way. Okay? I feel like you're a very creative person. I feel like you like to show people that you love them. You're one of those really good gift givers. Like, you always know what the other person wants or what they need, or you know how to make someone say, "Oh, wow," Maybe it's not what they need or what they want. Maybe that's even too obvious. I feel like you know the perfect gift to give people, right? I feel that you love to see your friends and family succeed, and you like to be there to celebrate with them in their accomplishments. And I think that you have the same kind of support when you succeed. Your people are there to congratulate you. All right, let's put this card into a little bit of context. This is some very good energy to start out with. Now we've got a 10 of Swords, a 2 of Swords. Okay, we've got a Knight of Cups here. More Swords energy. I feel like you're experiencing a blockage. Okay, and we see a 7 of Pentacles on the other side. So there's really wonderful energy, but there's something preventing you from getting forward, getting through it, and getting the success that you want. I feel like it could be a creative blockage. It could be a blockage of communication with a loved one. Let's keep going here. We've got a 9. It goes all the way to a 9 of Swords. Wow. Before we get a Princess of Cups, and of course an 8 of Swords, we have just about all the swords. But here now, instead of the 7 of Pentacles, look, we have 8 of Pentacles. So what is that? Growth. Getting past the blockage, right? And getting the growth we need. And now the blockage is a lot of things, right? We have a lot of air, a lot of air energy. So I feel like you are this 3 of Cups, Knight of Cups person, but there's something that's sort of preventing you from getting through and seeing the development, the growth, the success of what you're doing. All right, let's select our mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card. Look what's on the bottom of the pack, though, by the way. I sort of started to fumble the pack, and the Ace of Cups is on the bottom. So I think we can stay hopeful that we're going to get through this blockage, and maybe some of these cards will give us some insight into how we're going to do that. All right. Here's the mystery card, bonus card, confirmation card, random card from the Smith-Waite Tarot, the factor infinite and unknown, and it's going to go right here with Dwight K. Schrute right on top to keep an eye on that card, which we're not going to look at until the very end. But it will tie everything together. It will give us the confirmation that we need. All right. If you have a prediction for that card, please put it in the comments down below. Looking around the room, we don't have any major arcana energies here. And the way I like to look at that, there's no trump cards, right? There's no Fool, there's no Hanged Man, there's no World, there's no Empress. There's no spiritual cards here to point out some kind of a spiritual work that you need to focus on, to point out some kind of energy outside of you, beyond your control, that is preventing you from getting the success you want. Basically, it's Spirit's way of saying, look, Spirit's the table, right? Spirit's saying, I'm supporting you in what you're doing. You've got to get past this blockage. It's almost like Spirit saying this blockage doesn't really exist. It's air energy, right? It's a castle in the clouds. It's in some ways it's not real, right? There isn't really something that is blocking you from getting the success you want. It has a lot to do with how we're relating to other people, and sort of how we're thinking about ourselves and how we're thinking about our work. Okay, so there's no major arcana. Okay, Spirit, it doesn't mean Spirit's not here. It means that Spirit is the table. Spirit is supporting you. When we have more major arcana, that's sort of an indication that, okay, there are forces outside of your control that are affecting this. But you don't have that. Spirit saying, look, this is you. You can get past this. Okay, there's nothing for us to really focus on except looking at how we're thinking about our work right now. So you could be in a blockage of communication with a loved one, a family member, a friend. It could be a creative blockage. It could be that you've got this, like the writer's block kind of thing. And, now, the rest of the cards, we don't have any fire. We've got water, and then a little bit more water over here. We've got, of course, a ton of air, and we've got a little bit of earth. The earth energy is very obvious here, going from a 7 to an 8. The blockage is cleared, progress is being made, okay? So that's what you're capable of doing now. You're capable of getting past the blockage and getting some growth, some success, seeing the results of your work and seeing this thing come together and be healthy and grow strong, whatever it is. Maybe you're writing a book, or you're trying to make a piece of music, or maybe you're trying to connect with somebody. There's no fire energy here because I think that's just kind of it. We're stuck in this air. We're stuck in this overactive mind, and we've lost some momentum. We've lost the enthusiasm. We've maybe lost the connection with that creative source, right? And that's kind of what we see with the 10 of Swords. This is the realization that there is a blockage and that we need to get past it. This is the recognition that the blockage is very much like a bird cage, you know? It's preventing us, or we feel it's preventing us from really spreading our wings, from getting the progress, having the freedom, having the mobility of mind and the mobility of our creative energy. It's restricting us, right? And it may be making you feel as if all these hopes and dreams that we have, the wish that we have to connect, all this joy that was in there, we were so hopeful, now it just seems like, I'm never going to get it, right? So this starts to feel like I have nothing left in me. Maybe there's no more for me to express. Maybe I don't know what to say. Maybe I don't have anything to say. You know, maybe you're doing a YouTube channel, maybe you're doing music, or you're writing a book, or maybe it's just about your job. I've got nothing more to contribute. Right? We feel like we are exhausted. It kind of is a card that says, we kind of feel like a fraud. We feel like we're giving somebody a pile of bones and saying this is meat, right? Sorry for all the non-meat eaters. But this feels like we're trying to make a silk purse out of a sow's ear. It feels like we don't have anything real in here to give, and this is bones, just a bunch of nothing, you know. And this may be how we're feeling or how we're thinking about ourselves. All right, and this is part of the blockage. This reinforces the blockage. Okay, but like any bird cage, we can slip through the bars. Once we recognize where the blockage is really coming from, we can get out of it. We have to realize we're in this bird cage, and we can say, oh, okay, I can get out of this. You know, that there is more out there for me, there is more in here for me. Another aspect of the major arcana not being here, it feels like it's a reference to you needing to get in touch with your spiritual source, needing to get in touch with that creative energy again. All right. Once we tap into that source, that self, that deepest part of ourself that, you know, we sometimes don't even show ourselves, right? It's like we have these different faces that we wear. We show one face to the world, we show another face to our friends and family. Another face is just for us that maybe we don't always look at either. We have to tap into that. And once we do, I think we can we can realize that there is a lot in us that's trying to come out, okay? We do have a lot to say. Now, the Two of Swords down at the bottom here. The one way that you can look at this is that whatever you're doing, whatever you're creating, right? Let's say it doesn't have to do with a relationship blockage. Let's say this is just something that you're working on, you're creating, you're writing something, making a piece of music, you're trying to produce something. Look at it as being just for yourself. Okay? When we think of it as being, this is for other people, this is something people are going to look at, I'm writing for other people, or I'm producing this thing for somebody else to look at, then we start to really feel like, well, what if they don't like it? What if, what if nobody likes it? What if I get some negative criticism? What if, what if there's a lot of, what if it's not received well by others, right? And even if this is in terms of a relationship context, we're worried about what the other people's going to think, or what they're going to feel, or what they're going to understand, or how they're going to judge us, right? And so that gives us a good reason to not do something. Well, I don't want to be judged. Nobody likes to be judged on what they're doing. So one way that we can look at this is that this is just for me. This is just an expression of myself. It's basically like a diary entry. This is basically like, it's just going to be for you. No one's going to have to look at it. We have to cut ourselves off from the judgment of other people and say, this is me, this is what is coming out of me. It's real and authentic for me. It doesn't matter what other people think. And if we just convince ourselves that, look, no one has to see it. If we make a piece of music and we give ourselves that freedom, because sometimes the fear of judgment from other people is going to keep us in that birdcage. And we're going to think, well, I've got to just do what other people are going to like. That I don't know what other people like. And so I don't know, I have nothing to offer. I don't know what to do. I'm not doing anything. And we get blocked. But if we can free ourselves from the fear of judgment from outside, then we've got this freedom to really spread our wings, do whatever we want. Do whatever is, just let it all come out of you. See, the blockage is only a blockage of our mind. It's not, in your case here with all this air energy, it's not really a physical blockage. It's an intellectual one. It's worry. And so there's a choice here of whether we're going to do this for ourselves or do this for other people. For doing it for other people, we put ourselves in that birdcage with all the fear, all the anxiety, all the worry that's in there too. And we feel like we can't really move freely. It's kind of like if you're writing in your diary, but you know that your friends or your family or your parents or your spouse is going to read it at the end of the day, every day, you're not going to write in the journal, or you're not going to be very honest. Okay, that's why people now are putting their diaries and their journals, kind of on the phone with a password protection and stuff, so they can write whatever they want, without the fear that their loved ones or their family or whatever are going to read it and judge them. And that's why diaries back in the day would have a little lock and key on them. Because if we know that other people are going to see it, we're not going to want to do it. It restricts us. Okay? So this is the choice of whether we are going to allow ourselves the freedom of expression, and that's what I see here with the Princess of Cups in your environment here. Without that kind of freedom to express ourselves, we're going to be very, very limited, and we're going to really be blocked. We're going to do a couple of things, and it's like, I don't know what to write about now because I have a writer's block. Yeah, because other people are going to read it, and that, and so that leads us down that pathway. But if we keep it just for ourselves for now, and we believe that no one's going to see it, it's just for me, I can do whatever I want, I can create this how I want, I can express this however it feels right to me, we're getting rid of one of those blockages. Okay. The Knight of Cups in the background position. This is when you realize that you had something to offer the world. Okay? This is something that is flowing from you. This is it's a gift that you're giving the world. This is a talent. This is your creative energy that you're really tapped into, and this is you sort of in that creative mode. And I think that this, at first, was a feeling like I'm going to give this to the world, and the world is going to love it, and there's this reciprocating kind of love energy. This is a real passion and a real eagerness to do it. Okay, so you started this thing really, I think, motivated and excited about how other people will react. You know, excited that this is something you can give the world and something that you can get back from the world. And it may be that, you know, for friends and family, it's okay, but now we're thinking about, okay, the larger world, you know. Maybe we're really good at telling jokes with our friends, our family, and, you know, our group of like 10 people, but what about getting on stage and telling jokes to a crowd of 50 or 100 or 500 people? That's a different animal, right? And so we may feel that kind of blockage when we realize that we're sort of growing in scale here. But this is tapping into that creative source, and I feel like we've got to get back to this, because this is really, at the beginning of this, it felt free. It felt there's no limitations, there's no time restraints, I'm not worried about what other people think, until we got to a certain point where it's like, okay, now it's getting real, right? Now it's becoming more apparent that, other people might see this, that it's going to be, it's setting in, I think. At the beginning, this is a cardinal water card, right? This is a Cancer energy. And the cardinal energy is very, very energetic at the beginning, very enthusiastic, very passionate about this creative process. But then, sort of, the more it sets in, the more reality sets in. We start to think, okay, now I'm really doing it. What am I going to do? Right? How's this going to? Then all the worries come. Once the initial burst of creative energy wears off a little bit, we get into all this air energy. We start worrying, and of course, the Five of Swords up there is us feeling like we don't know what to do. And it's kind of the feeling that I'm not good enough. I don't have anything to say. I've reached a limit in what my creative energy can do. So really the blockage is either worrying about judgment from other people, or it's us judging ourselves. Being very aware of our own judgments on our own work, on our own. It's kind of like, you're not going to sit there and criticize your own journal entry as you're writing it, right? I mean, I think we do, though. But why? Why do we do that? Let's just write. It doesn't have to look neat. We don't have to use the right grammar. We don't have to spell things the right way. Just write. Just let it come out of you. And we can go back and critique it later, but in that process of doing it, we're just letting it flow. Okay? And when I used to write my journal, I used to try to make it all very neat. I used to care about my handwriting, and I used to want it to look really nice, but then I thought, well, I like looking at the nice handwriting. But sometimes that would come at the expense of what I was actually writing, And sometimes it's just a matter of getting all that stuff out as fast as you can, getting it on paper, allowing that process to happen without it's kind of a left brain, right brain sort of thing. Or how we try to encapsulate or restrict our creative energy with our intellectual energy. And that's why I started writing my journal with my non-dominant hand. If you've never tried that, try that. Because then it's impossible to make it look so absolutely perfectly neat. It's going to look like a kid. It's going to be terrible. But that helps us to get out of this idea of having to perfect everything, or having it be something that is, logical, or something that is structured and ordered and very rigid and very defined and very, where all the edges are kind of smoothed on it, So we try not to judge ourselves over what we're doing either. But sometimes that's more difficult than worrying about what other people are going to think. Well, I don't feel like I'm good enough. I don't feel like I've got anything to say anyway. And really the two go hand in hand. Okay, the two go hand in hand. But what we can do with this is flip it upside down. Flip it upside down. Put spirit back on top. Let spirit take the wheel. Okay. In other words, we need positive affirmations. We need to be kind to ourselves, and we need to treat ourselves well. We need to encourage ourselves. We need to understand what words we're using when we talk to ourselves. Okay. Now, because we have all this air energy, I want to do a Language of Flowers affirmation card. And here we have the Heliconia, realization. The answer is here. Take heed. Right? The answer is here. And a botanical inspiration card. The answer is here. Take heed. And then we've got the tuberose, dangerous pleasure. The secret of reaping the greatest fruitfulness and the greatest enjoyment from life is to live dangerously. Live dangerously. In other words, we need the risk, right? We need the emotional, creative risk, and that's what we see here, right? Because the princesses are all very impulsive cards. Princess of Wands, Cups, Air, and the Princess of Pentacles are all risky, right? It's all taking a chance on something. Right, Princess of Pentacles, we're taking a chance on a certain situation that we feel could blossom into an Empress energy. The Princess of Cups, we're taking a chance on some emotional, sort of almost intuitive, creative idea or desire or passion, and hoping it will blossom into the Empress energy, right? All the princesses may become the Empress. Maybe that'll be our mystery card. So we do need to take a chance on something, and we need to understand our internal dialogue. And what are we really, and once we start paying attention to that, I think we realize where our restrictions, where our birdcage is, and how we've been preventing this flow, because what we have, if we remove all the blockages, what do we have? We have the water energy flowing forward, watering this plant, and this plant is growing beautifully. But the mind starts to get worried about stuff, and then we sort of, things break down, we don't see the growth. The Seven of Pentacles is, we feel like we're up against that obstacle. Something I'm trying to do, I can't figure out how to do it. That there's you're trying to you're trying to figure out the outro to your song or something, right? Or the bridge or something, and it's just like everything I do, it doesn't work. I can't figure it out. I'm stuck, right? And sometimes we get up against those little F failures, those little blockages, those little obstacles, and we start to think, I don't know what to do. I'm stuck. I'm lost. I've got this creative blockage, right? And then, of course, that brings us into the air energy. So sometimes this will prompt the air energy. And then the air energy reinforces this. And then we get more of this, and we get more of this air energy, more of the worry, more of the doubt, more of the judgment. Sometimes it's just a matter of clearing our head. You got too much air in here, right? You got too many swords going on. What we need is an Ace of Swords or something to clear this out. Maybe go for a walk. Maybe go and do some breathing exercises. Do some meditation. I really think just going for a walk, right? Going for a walk is a great way to just sort of clear your head and realize that, maybe there's something you'll see on your walk that'll spark the answer. You'll hear something and it'll be like, oh yeah, that's the hook, or something that will help you to just sort of clear out some of this negative internal dialogue, gain a little bit of clarity, and come back to the problem here with a fresh perspective. Okay, and I think we'll get through this. I think this is, it's going to give way to the Eight of Pentacles. Seven of Pentacles becoming the Eight of Pentacles. Progress is being made again. The flow has been restored between these two, right? So the creative blockage it's a mental blockage rather than the emotional blockage. It's not that your creativity is being blocked. It's that we came up against something that was an obstacle, a difficulty, a challenge, okay? And it's sort of interrupted the flow a little bit, yeah. But what it really did was sparked all of these doubts, all of these thinking modalities about what other people think and what I think of myself, how I'm going to be judged, how I am being judged, how I'm judging myself. And once we recognize the restrictions, again, it's like the diary entry. Well, I don't feel like I have anything to say. On the other hand, I feel like someone is going to be, spying on me or reading my diary. I'm not going to write anything. I'm going to write just the very basic stuff. But that's not art, right? Art is you letting your energy flow freely from you and creating something that is an expression of an unfettered expression of your perspective in life. It's your passion, it's your essence in this moment of how you're feeling, what you're thinking, what your life is, and what your experience of reality is. And it needs to be as free as possible. Now, there are always restrictions. You have this creative energy. You're restricted by the medium through which you're expressing yourself. So you're limited by your vocabulary if you're a writer. You're limited by the colors and the canvas if you're a painter, right? You're limited by the instruments and the software that you use if you're making songs, But that's pretty free still, right? It gives us a lot of ways to do this. But we're restricting ourselves even more by saying like, okay, I don't have anything to say and other people are going to judge me poorly, So then our little area in which our little bird cage becomes so small that we're not really doing anything of any kind of worth or merit, and we're sort of reinforcing that prophecy. It's going to be self-fulfilling. Okay. Path of the Serpent. Now, if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is free. The Nine of Swords is the result of everything on the path of the dove. The result of this is going to be this, right? And this is despair. This is misery. This is lamentation. This is really we're losing sleep at night. We just can't seem to function, and I think it's affecting a lot of other areas of your life too. And I don't think you're someone who's easily embarrassed. I don't think that I feel like you have a lot of confidence in yourself, right? But right now it feels as if this is a losing situation. And so something needs to change, because this is like the bottom of the pit, and we realize, okay, I got no choice but to get out of this somehow. And very often, and we're going back to the Two of Swords here, the idea of choice, right? When you're at the bottom of this pit, the choice becomes either climb out or this is it, I give up. Completely giving up. So we're either going to go to the 10 of Swords, and in that case, 9 to a 10. In that case, it's kind of like I'm throwing away I'm scrapping it, throwing away the journal, throwing away the guitar, throwing away the canvas and the paint, and I'm just done. I quit. I'm never going to tell a joke again. I'm never going to write anything else ever again. I'm going to forget how to write. Throw away all the pencils. Or we decide we need to climb out. And climbing out is when we really confront, we get the 8, right? On the other side of the 9, we got the 8, right? 10 or the 8. And the 8, I think, is us trying to climb out. Because the 9 of Swords is a situation that cannot continue. Okay, we can't just, we're stuck here right now. That's not going to last. Something's got to change. Okay, and again, we either give up, throw it away, or we decide I'm gonna push through this blockage. And a good way to do that, like I said, look at this like it is just your diary entry. This is your personal journal, even if whatever you're doing, even if it's a business thing, even if it's some financial investments, even if it's something creative, music or painting, some kind of art, or even if it's relationships or if it's conversation you're trying to have. Look at this as just for you. This is just your expression of yourself to yourself. Okay? And we have to be kind to ourselves. We have to encourage ourselves, not worry about what other people are going to think. Pretend that no one's going to see it but you. Okay? And we start climbing out of this, because this is where, I mean, you're losing sleep. This is, we are really, really falling into a pit of despair. Okay? It's kind of that, in a way, it's that rock bottom, this card. Okay? And I think we're one step away from throwing in the towel. The next card is the Princess of Cups, and I think that this is, we're sort of getting back to that water energy, right? The water has reappeared, and rather than trying to think our way out of it so much, we are just, we're acting. We are just choosing to create whatever it might be. Okay, and this is the card in the environment. So I really I'm really thinking that going for that walk is going to serve you well. Getting away from this stuff for a minute, get some fresh air, clear your head a little bit, and just go in and just start painting, just start writing, just start journaling, just start doing whatever it is that you are trying to do. Don't think about it. Don't try to do it well. Don't try to be logical or reasonable or rational about it. Don't try to be purposeful. Just do it. Just try to let yourself, like if you're painting, don't worry about the paint. Don't worry about what you're doing. Don't worry about technique. If you're making music, just make some stuff, just jam, just make something that feels good to do. It's about taking risks. It's about experimentation. This card is about letting that impulse just happen. Getting into the feeling, like just, if playing music, just start playing. Just have fun with it. Make sure you're recording, and then you could go back and you could listen to it later and you could pick out, oh wow, that phrase is really, really awesome. I really love that transition or whatever, you can pick out things that really were, that really stuck out to you that you really like, But this is just, we're not worried about the blockage. We're not worried about what we think, what other people think. No one's judging it. It's just coming through you. And it may be 99% junk, right? But you're getting yourself back into that mode of just allowing it to happen. Allowing yourself to do what you do. Okay. And, the Eight of Swords really is the obstacle here. This is the card of the fear, the worry, the concern. And this is the concern that we are never going to get out of this blockage. And again, we're kind of going from 7 to 8 here. And this is a lot of interference. Okay? And this is what we're trying to really get through, is to recognize how the intellect, the so-called left brain, right? How the intellect will interfere with that creative process, with our action, with our doing of something. You have all this passion, right? All this passion, you're in the passion, then suddenly you start thinking about it, and it knocks that thing right out of the sky. And now we're overthinking what we're doing. Now we suddenly become self-conscious. It's like the tightrope walker who's just in the flow, doing the tightrope walking or the trapeze stuff, and just in the flow. But then as soon as they sort of snap to and realize, oh my gosh, look what I'm doing. I'm like 50 feet up in the air. I'm swinging around on these swings and stuff. Becoming conscious of what we're doing very often knocks us out of the game. Right? We start becoming too self-aware, too self-conscious. We get wrapped up in our thoughts. And so it's just trying to keep ourselves in a flow state, in an experience of kind of an outward flowing of consciousness, and not trying to turn that around and looking at ourselves, because that's what the problem is. We feel that other people are looking at us, and we feel that we're looking at us, and then we just freeze, or we make a mistake, or we try to be too intentional with what we're writing. We try to be too precise. We try to be too logical, rational, intellectual. Okay. And this is the first time I think we've had a reading like this for you, Sagittarius, because usually it's the other way around. Usually you're so much in these flow, creative states that it's just like we got to rein it in a little bit. Come on now. But this is sort of the opposite now, where we've restricted it too much, that now we've we've pushed the creative impulse down somewhere, and we've got to find it again. We've got to untangle some of these thoughts, and we've got to just really let them go. Okay. But you will get back to your, to the growth. Okay. You will get back to the progress, going from a 7 to an 8 here. It's kind of like we've removed all of the restrictions, all the fetters for this tree, and it's able to continue growing. Okay. Now, Spirit's saying that you recently made a change to your diet or something like this, or you've changed the way you eat or something like that. Yeah. 8 of Pentacles is growth. I mean, it's repetition. It's continuing to do the thing over and over and over again, and seeing what happens. It's kind of like, you may be in the studio for hours and hours and hours, sort of working on the same song, and it's the same song over and over and over and over and over again. And well, that may also sort of lead us, especially if we kind of get a blockage in that. It's going to lead us to overthink things, make it too complicated. It's part of our 8 of Swords too. Making things too complicated, worry too much about other people looking at me looking at me, and we get lost. So taking a time out, taking a break, stepping away, going for a walk, and then coming back, and maybe on the first try, you're going to get it. But coming back to it, I think refreshed and with a clear head. I kind of want the mystery card to be that Ace of Swords, or a Queen of Swords. The Empress would be wonderful as well. I think an Ace of Swords would be good. Now, what do you think? Put your prediction in the comments. Let's see what we have. A 6 of Swords. I was going to say that. I promise. I was going to say the 6 of Swords, but I didn't want to because we got enough swords. But at least this one is okay, because this one is showing that we are on the boat. Right? We're in the studio. We're riding on the water. Right? We're floating down the water. So we're in the creative energy. Right? We're steering the boat with the staff, with the wand, with our will, with our creative force. Intentionally, sort of steering the boat on the water. The swords are on the boat too. We didn't get rid of the worries. I didn't get rid of my insecurities. I didn't get rid of my self-doubt, but I know how to deal with them now. They're still here. They're still with me. They're still on the back of the boat. Or in this case, it's at the front of the boat. They're still here, but they're not driving the boat. Because if they're driving the boat, all we're going to do is spin around in a circle and sink. Or everybody will be thrown from the boat, or it'll capsize or whatever. So we don't get rid of our insecurities, our doubts, our worries. We don't get rid of our self-judgment. We don't get rid of this worry about, or our fear of other people's judgment. But we figure out a way to deal with those and stay on the water and keep those over there. They're not driving the boat, but I see you and I hear you. I'm choosing to ignore you, basically. And so it comes down to that 2 of Swords, that choice. We're either choosing to let these worries sort of drive the boat, capsize the boat, or we're choosing to get back into that creative flow and not let our fears, worries, and concerns drive the boat. Now, we're going to do an extended reading as well. We'll do an I Ching reading. We'll do some oracle cards. There's a link in the corner. There's a link down below. New readings for Sagittarius Wednesday and Sunday. Shout out to Jelly Roll. Be sure to watch both of your readings, okay? And if you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, please do. It is free. Leave a comment and let me know where in the world you're watching from. I want you to know that you're the most important part of Dove and Serpent Tarot. I thank you, and I love you, and we're all in this together.